Blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
In the center.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the center. I'm your main host, Veep. You got Jokey, Sharita, and D-Ray, the producer, in the house. Family, how you guys doing on this Friday?
It's been a week.
I bet.
It's been a week. Oh, you know what, Sharita? Shut up. Just out the gate. Just shut up. Because I know what you're talking about. And this is no, you cannot. And this is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong podcast. So be quiet.
I'm not. I had already told the fellas.
No, you chose violence, and we 20 seconds in, and you already done chose violence. Now leave it alone. Damn it.
What were you saying, Z?
As I was saying, I
What were you
appreciate it.
saying?
No. Just getting everybody here tonight. So this was a long week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday all felt like Mondays. I don't know what it was. It was something in the atmosphere, but thank God it's Friday. We're here to chop it up. We want to wish you also a happy Thanksgiving. You will not see us next week because of, Thanksgiving will be passing us by. So we'll have something showing, but, as far as being live, that ain't happening. So before we get into some topics, I just want to make sure everybody
Stop looking at me. Stop looking at me, Sharita. Stop looking at me.
I'm happy today. I had a good day, man.
All right.
We want to fly.
So Sharita, I knew you had some
My cat.
that you wish to share.
Oh yes. First of all, hey everybody, how you doing? Y'all doing all right?
Mm-hmm.
Jokey, you doing good? I see you've been posting a lot of your tracks for your upcoming project in January. You want to tell us about that?
I've been working on some things here. Hopefully it'll come to fruition. I've been mixing a lot of music, and I said, let me just put it out instead of just be smoking it.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Shout out to all the producers out there. I'll get back in my bag soon. I'm under threat by an unsaid producer, but I got to get back in my bag, so I have to. I'm committed.
What's your door, Sharita? What door do you use?
Oh, Pretty Lit. Pretty Lit. Yeah. I really haven't been able to move beyond that because I kind of want to master it. I got stifled a bit, but I'll move on to something else after I master it, to the tune of what I want to get from it. I'm looking at, machine. MPCs. I'm like one of those. I'm not a real technical person, so I have to go with simplicity. And MPC does that for me. Machine.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about the MPC, the software, but sometimes the software got kinks in it, man, and you be having a lot of software problems. That's one thing. I have both. I have Machine and MP, but I have a lot of problems when I use my my stuff gets lost a lot in the it has a lot of little kinks in it with the software. Hardware, yeah, it's fine, but software.
I think it's really about what your end goal is, what you're trying to do. Because if you're a beat maker, then NPCs make a lot of sense. Machine makes a lot of sense. In some cases, Fruity Loops makes a lot of sense. But if you are trying to do an entire record, then NPC might be a little problematic. And you know, there's a negative stigma attached to Fruity Loops. And was she back? Good. There's a negative stigma attached to Fruity Loops that I think is a little unfair sometimes, but then I feel like sometimes it's well deserved because a lot of us who learned our craft and paid a heavy cost of learning our craft, we are up against somebody who has a very, very cheap laptop and a stolen version of Fruity Loops, and now they're calling themselves a producer, and it's like, no, you're not, but okay. Like when Sharita says she uses Fruity Loops, honestly, because I've heard her stuff, it's like, okay, that makes sense. You know what I mean? I know that there's some thought that was behind that you just didn't go out and just yank somebody's YouTube beat, right, put it on Fruity Loops and put a compressor on it, and now I'm a producer. No, you're not. Right. So that's my take on it. My thing of, go ahead.
I'm not against Fruity Loops. Like me personally, I use Studio One, Studio 17. But I have a lot of mixing programs. Like I use Waves, Plugin Alliance. Isotope. I have it all. So I practice more on the mastering and stuff like that, like mixing and mastering. I mean, you could do a lot even with Fruity Loops if you could put those plugins in. You know what I'm saying? So.
And that's really the thing. You know, you get in where you fit in. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Me and you, we got started on, you know, synthesizer sequencers and whatnot. And that led me to go to the Cakewalk. From Cakewalk, that led me to go into Master Tracks and Digital Performer, and then eventually into Pro Tools. And now I am at Logic, you know. So you just really get in where you fit in, though. I try not to hold judgment until I recognize and see that you don't have any vested interest in your craft. You just really are caring about the name, and that's when, you know, I can't deal with it that well.
Well, you could tell a lot by sound too. Like I listen to the sound. Like I could tell where you at in music from your sound. Like it's the way you mix and the way your high and low end, your like I could tell by the way you mix where you at.
That's the fact. And you could also tell what kind of gear you got, depending upon how deep you've been in the game, right? Because that TR-808 is very distinctive. That the ASR-10 is very distinctive. DAT tape and ADAT, and if you really want to go old school, VHS tape, for those of us who couldn't afford that back in the day. No, real talk. We would record our masters on a VHS because the magnetic tape on a VHS tape was about as close to a DAT as we could get. And so I got masters on VHS tapes at my mama house somewhere. So you could kind of tell, but then too, that to me shows that you're a student if you got old gear and know how to use it. You know? So
I have a question to add with this whole not debate, but discussion that we're having. With the emergence of AI, when would it be considered wrong for a producer to use AI to produce a song? When is it considered wrong?
I'm gonna probably step out on a limb here because I know Jokey got an opinion and showed to Sharita, but I'm gonna say it's wrong when the public says it's wrong.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, when sampling really took off, you had everybody up there trying to sample.
Right.
And, because it was the new thing to do, you had people sampling stuff that didn't make sense just because they could. Right?
Right.
Soulless music is never going to sell. You know what I mean? So if it's just like any kind of drone or robot or whatever, if it has no soul, it's not going to sell. And no matter how you flip it, no matter how you try to remix it, mix it, whatever the case, if it has no soul, I'm not worried about it. Now, the minute they can take the essence of Jay Dilla, or they could take the essence of Premiere and put that in a plugin, and that plugin has the very essence of the producer's soul, that's when we might need to find something else to do.
I think there's a misconception about AI, because even with AI, there's real producers that actually contributing to strong AI. Because even if you listen to AI type beats, it doesn't land it. Like, AI is only good for like mixing and mastering. Like, say you mixed your track and you need AI to do, like for instance, if you ever heard of the plugin Lander, like you could already have a mix and AI will cue up your mix. Instead of like mixing, I don't think AI is going to be a big disruption, because it's a copycat system. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to do what you tell it to do.
I'm in full disclosure. I use AI when I'm running into a mixing problem, and because I got like 10,000 plugins, I'll go to like an AI and say, "Create." Is that me? Do y'all hear feedback?
A little bit.
Yeah, but I'll go and I'll say, create a mix chain using the following plugins with the following genre of music, and give me a range of settings for those plugins. For me, that's a starting point, because I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to sit there and say, AI mix the record for me. Hell, I might as well just say, go ahead and write it for me.
Okay.
But you ain't got no choice now. All the new plugins have AI. All of them.
Facts. There is a one called Sonable, and Sonable's whole line of plugins. Back in the day, you had to learn how to use a limiter, or you had to learn how to use a compressor. Now you run it through Sonable, hit the button, it automatically EQs it for you, and you tell it what. You tell it what genre you want. It could be anywhere from Afrobeat to hip hop to R&B to jazz, and it'll say, "This is what we think your track sounds as close to it as whatever," and it's damn near accurate.
So
even the new machine. I'm sorry. Even the new machine has AI in it.
Facts.
So Sharita, I wanted your input. The question was, with the emergence of AI, when does it become wrong to produce a song, or a producer using AI? When is the wrong point of using it, I should say?
Coming where I come from, when it comes to music, AI is just not, there's no place for AI in the creative place. Because you're not creating. You're no longer creating. You're not thinking. But I will say, if you want, say hypothetically, you're doing a placement and you want to make sure that you really have that standard or that industry sound, sure. But I mean, and that's only if you don't know how to achieve that. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I'm going to keep working at it. Like my husband, he does everything when it comes to tech stuff. And he'll be like, Sharita, let me mix that down for you. And I'll be like, let me try. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like how it is with AI. You know, let me try. Let me try to be the best or come to the threshold of what is, you know.
Hey, you know what, Jokey? You gonna stop, dude? Cause real talk, you know I got that on my iPad, right? Because actual printed books are dead.
Amazon $30. Amazon $30.
Printed books are not obsolete. Printed books are
printed books are dead. print is dead.
You have a techie head. You have a techie head.
You heard it here first. Print is dead.
There's nothing like the excitement of flipping pages. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can flip pages. I'm flipping pages right there.
Spoken like a true reader.
With my bookmarks, buying bookmarks and putting them in the book.
Can't see it, but it's there.
So look,
you know what? Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
When I read the Bible, I'll be honest with you, it is easier for me to read it off my phone, because I can make the light shine brighter. I don't have to go to the large text because I have smaller text and then I have a larger text, and then shouts out the go ahead.
No, you good, but there's really a way to put a nice little bow on this, because sometimes it's not really the tool, it's how you're going to use the tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I've been to churches where someone would get up and say, I don't want to see your phone, you know, I want you to go to an old school Bible. Why? For what reason? If it's the Bible, you know what I mean?
They're lesser or more of a pastor or whatever because they're reading off of a iPad. I don't identify with that. Phones in church, like viewing certain things, but reading just to teach.
One point, history keeping though. You know, a lot of historians and scholars keep the actual text, so you can't put that in the, you know.
Well, you know, that's true, but I feel like sometimes we all got to be like Eli, like the Book of Eli, that movie with Denzel Washington. Sometimes we got to keep the word in our head, and at the end of the day, like going back to this AI thing, Output Arcade has an AI program called Co-Producer, right? You go in, you tell it, I want to create a track that's neo soul, that's A minor, 99 BPM, and I want it to sound like Sade. It takes about 30-40 seconds. It spits out 4 ideas. Let's say, oh, I like that idea.
Wow.
It shoots you the stems, right? It shoots you the stems from that idea, and then like at that point, you could do whatever you want to do with the stems.
So my man Kevin says, if you got it, you got it. It shouldn't matter where the text comes from.
Facts.
I agree somewhat. Because at some point, you like when you get to a point where we're debating, you have to have a point of fact. Like there has to be a point of fact. Like there's always something you can go back to as. Because this is the problem with the world for me right now. There's so much propaganda out there that people are not believing anything. Me and you could argue. What's the end point if we don't have a point of a fact? Like we don't have the fact.
That part.
It's just going to be me and you just arguing today.
Just beefing, yeah.
We always have to have a spectrum. We always have to have a spectrum to tell the difference between the fake from the real.
Well, that and we also got to have a spirit of understanding that me and you and everybody else in the center, pun intended, we're not trying to like beat people over the head. We really are trying to expand and explore our ideas. So that's the first thing. And then secondly, I agree, because people don't even use primary and secondary sources anymore. People jump on Wikipedia and quote Wikipedia. Where I'm from, you did that, you got an F. So,
and it could be considered plagiarism.
Facts.
In some ways, if you don't know if you don't know synonymous words.
Right. And trusted source means you can look it up too. To be honest, if I read from the same trusted source, I could actually tell who did good reporting and bad reporting.
Right.
Did you really dig into that source, or you just went on the? You just read off the top, or you really went and digged into that. I can tell by me looking into the same source.
Right. Wow. So look at what Kevin just said, and he, his earlier comment: if you got it, you got it. Shouldn't matter where the text came from or what instrument you're using to convey the text. Here's the thing: like I saw a debate about Michael Jackson and Prince the other day, where they were talking about production styles. Right. Of course, Prince could go in, and he was a one-man army. He could play everything, he could sing everything. But he did have a engineer with him. But on the other hand, Michael had a team of people. He had a team of the best people. But if you go back and listen to his early demos, Michael sang every part. You know what I mean? Michael sang every part. And so which one do you think is the better producer? Which one do you think is the better songwriter? And if you're saying, oh, well, Prince is because he wrote instruments, are you discounting the fact that Michael didn't use those instruments, but he got the same point across?
Right.
Are you discounting the fact?
Make a better point than that. Just because Michael didn't use instruments didn't mean he couldn't play instruments. I mean, he had a whole band. I believe he could play one of those instruments. Right.
Right. And like, think about Quincy Jones, one of my, rest in peace. Quincy Jones was not the best musician. Was not the best whatever, but was the best idea person. Yeah. And if you think about that, use that as a context, what would a Quincy Jones minded producer do on a program like Splice? You get what I mean? So now it's like, instead of me looking for a sample to jack, there's a specific instrument that I'm looking for, just like I would be looking for a musician.
You know what? That right there. That's amazing.
I'm mad at Splice. I'm mad at Splice.
Oh, Splice.
Don't be mad at Splice. They ain't do it.
Yeah, they didn't do it. It's terms and conditions. It's a guy. I know a guy. His name is Terms and Conditions.
Why do I have to pay an subscription for Splice? If I'm paying for Sonos, right, and I get all the other plugins except for Splice, I have to pay a separate membership. So I have to pay an extra membership for Splice.
They're just trying to get.
They're getting in where they fit in, bro.
There you go. They just trying to get.
I'm gonna tell you what's even worse. I know we gotta go. We're trying to transition, but what's even worse is when you pay for one and pay for one for about a year and a half, and they decide, oh yeah, by the way, we're going out of business, and all them samples that you paid for that was in our cloud that you didn't download, too bad.
See ya. So listen, I'm gonna take this time. First, I want to shout out to Kevin because I think he's our first LinkedIn commenter. So I appreciate you, Kevin, for
hey.
I wanted to do one of my segments. This is this and that, and we're here about having fun. This one definitely goes to Sharita and Jokey because I've heard you guys give this group much love. So is it this or is it that? Let's check it out.
Mercy. Yuck, big truck, a man's rolling in town. How you do? I got the joint to make you jump because I'm heading eastbound. Tired of the merry-go-round and around. And everybody's talking about your stuff funny, but they're still telling lies to me. I got the trees in my backyard, and it's hard for them to tell a lie to me. And who's the foot? I'm the foot, but who's stepping? You know where I'm stepping. Skirts play with it cause I'm slick like that. I'm the greatest MC in the world. You got to give me mine cause I'm heavy when I weigh it. Watch the way I say it. Ego trip. I changed my pitch up, smack my bitch up, I never did it. The flavor's being bucked, but brothers ain't getting it. Get it? Or else you're a goner. When I rolls over, you're gonna have to wanna lamb. Cause it's the Chattanooga champ. Taking a train, taking a train, taking a train. You know them stakes high. The instamatic focal point bringing damage to your burrow. Be some brothers from the east with them beats that be thorough. Got the solar gravitation, so I'm bound to pull it. I gets down like brothers are found, ducking from bullets. Gun control means using both hands in my land. When it's all about the cautious living, migrating to a higher form of consequence. Compliments, a struggling that shouldn't be notable. Man, every word I say should be a hip hop quote. I'm sick of bitches shaking asses. I'm sick of talking about blood. Sick of Versace glasses. Sick of slang. Sick of half-ass award shows. Sick of name brand clothes. Sick of R&B bitches over bullshit trap. Cocaine and crack, which brings sickness to black. Sick of swole head rappers with they sickening raps, claps and gaps, making the whole sick world collapse. The facts are getting sicker, even sicker perhaps. I stick a push to make a bundle to escape the synapse. Man, life can get all up in your ass, baby. You better work it out. Now let me tell you what it's all about. A skin not considered equal. A meteor has more right than my people who be wasting time screaming who they've hated. That's why the native tongues has officially been reinstated.
The stakes is high.
I'll
go last so I can segue into this topic.
All right, Jokey, is it this or that, brother?
As a producer, I will never go against Jason.
Against who? Against who?
Against Jason.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, Jokey, real talk. That was gonna be the killer right there. I was gonna have to be like, you gonna get a phone call after this podcast. Like, how dare you? Yeah, no doubt. But come on, y'all know it's Dilla. But I will say this. That
he about to say what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, maybe. That first track with Ego Tripping, the production is very nostalgic to me because that's back in the day where that bounce that you hear, you can only get that bounce on a tape. That wasn't DAW. That wasn't digital. That was an actual magnetic tape that gives you that early 90s bounce and that bottom. But Dilla is Dilla, man. Come on. What are we doing?
Go ahead, Sharita.
What he said, and also just, De La is Dead is a legendary album. It was a transitional album. I think we talked about this before. They were strictly Daisy Age on the first album. And the second album, they wanted to let you know that we are not just flower boys. That whole album was just amazing. Just even from the skits, it connected everything. It gave you insight to, even though the bully wanted to hear the tape, and he wanted to take the tape from whoever, I guess the person that was playing the music. You know how the skits went on the album. They even changed the mind of the hardest boy in school. So that kind of conveys to me, just like even the hardest hip hop heads can appreciate De La and their Daisy Age mentality. To answer the question, sonically it's Dilla, but historically it's the first.
I agree. The first one's a better song. I just can't go against it. The chemistry.
Oh no.
Is there.
I have to disagree with you there, Jokey, because Stakes is High was calling everything out.
Yeah.
Sick of name brand clothes.
Yep. Sick of girls.
Sick of everything. Sick of everything.
Hey, when he said
direction-wise, did you think that that was kind of when the first one was way more.
That was a statement track. That was them coming back after the hiatus, after Prince Paul and them had their disagreement, and they had to find someone, and God blessed them with Dilla. That whole Stakes is High. Oh my gosh.
And Stakes is High is about as gangster as De La got. And you know what I mean? And especially a line where he was like, I don't play if you take offense if it's got to be that way. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay. All right.
The first Bionics album. The one with church on it.
Mm,
I don't know. And with the ghost face feature.
mm,
I don't know.
mm,
We have to, yeah. We'll give the church home.
mm.
Real quick, can I go ahead and segue into
Yeah,
this?
go
Okay,
ahead.
real quick. So, there's a guy named Marcus Moore that's written a book about De La Soul. It's called High and Rising, a book about De La Soul. And De La's not happy. They're so not happy about it. They're thinking about taking legal proceedings against this guy for writing this book. He said he wrote the book because they are a subject that are somewhat, if not completely, unappreciated in the literary space. Now, I can understand that myself because you don't hear much about De La. No one really wanted to touch De La or talk about De La, I think, because of the things that were going on with the samples and all the mess and all of that. They didn't even want to touch themselves. That's why they ended up doing the Kickstart for Anonymous Nobodies. But after everything was said and done, with Tommy Boy, Warner Brothers, all the stuff, and of course we don't know the underside of it. They could still be dealing with some things, but they are now on digital platforms. You can hear their music. They're starting to come out from up under the underground, if you will. I think that it's a good idea to have written a book, but a fan to have written a book about them so they can get an outside point of view of what someone thinks about them. But if I know, I'm not saying I know Kelvin Mercer, but he's like one of my favorite MCs. If I know the type of person he is, he don't want nobody writing about him. That he ain't get to give the information or have a part of the information to be given. Which I'll think.
Here's my thing with that. Number one, how did he get access to this information? That would be my first problem. It's like, because this is in this country, you can write a book about anybody, any subject, whatever, and they really can't stop you. But what can be stopped is if you have some unsubstantiated, what you think is a fact. And like we were talking about earlier about doing your research, where did you do your research? Right? Did you get it? Were you there? Were you in the studio with them? Were you one of their tech? Yeah. Were you one of their tech persons that, that was always around, that they didn't really notice you because they were busy, but you was always watching, right? That part. Or is this just fan art? So yeah, that would be my problem with it. But I would also say, to kind of piggyback on what you said, one of the reasons that people weren't touching them was because there was no money to be made off of them. Period. Because their stuff has been locked up for so long.
You have to remember too, even with Beat Times and Life, there was a lot of problems with that movie because you had one-sided person. When you're dealing with a group, even if one person, like, I'm not gonna tell in the business because I like those guys, but there was friction within the group. So you may get stories from one MC or rapper or DJ, and the other people may not want that out there.
Right.
You understand what I'm trying to say? So now for you to write a book or tell a story, you have to get everyone's perspective and everyone's permission.
Well,
especially if you're speaking on Dave in the book. Especially if you're speaking on Dave.
Right. Well, I'll put it to you like this, and I know we're up against the break, but y'all remember the Temptations movie that came out 10, 15 years ago? That had Leon playing David Ruffin? Well, his son is now doing a lot of interviews talking about how the family tried to stop Motown from making that movie because of the way it portrayed their father. Now, was it because they didn't like the way that their father was portrayed, or was it because sometimes that truth is ugly, right? Because
who's telling the story? If it's the story according to Otis, it's just like the Bible. What about the other 11 disciples?
Well, I'll put it to you like this: if we're telling a story about Jokey, right? And and we want to talk about Jokey, and instead of talking to you, we talk to somebody that went to high school with you. We talk to the ex-girlfriend that you broke up with, or somebody that you did wrong back in your younger days, right? That ain't necessarily saying that what they got to say is inaccurate, but what it is to say is you have a brand that you want to protect, that you might not want that story out, you know?
That part.
I get what you're saying.
Just like it was a long time before we really understood. I mean, if you're a real fan of Tribe Called Quest, you saw the dissension happening between Tip and Fife. You know, from the low end theory to
there was a dissension with De La Soul too.
Absolutely, because Dave was a reclusive person. He didn't want to do all the things, and everybody else wanted to do the things. And a lot of his, thank you for bringing that out, because Dave was not reclusive. God rest him. It's not that. He was kind of shy.
He was very eccentric. I think that's what you want to call it. And he just had a certain mindset and way of thinking that if you think about it, their truth can hurt their brand. You know what I mean? Yeah. And whether it's fact or fiction, I should be the one driving from now on, especially when the past 20 years, I didn't have, or 30 years actually, I haven't had the opportunity to drive my career because it was owned by somebody else.
Right. And they're just now getting to speak out.
Fact. So if I'm going to drive myself off a cliff, you best damn believe I'm going to be in the driver's seat doing the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Especially when they have it. Go ahead, Jokey. I'm sorry.
No, I wait. Go ahead.
No, just saying, especially since, they're just now getting the opportunity to say anything.
Facts.
I want to be the first to put out a book. I want to be the first to put out any publication about this group.
But I know it's a fact, being that I was in groups before, there comes a time, especially when you started from one era and you transition to different eras, there comes a time when you probably going to get frustrated with the direction of different people if they catching up lyrically, because the way lyrics and cadence lyrics and delivery has changed over the years. You could be rapping too old school. So I'd be like, yo, you can't rap like this now. It could be a lot of friction that's going on with groups as far as moving into different eras. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, even coming to present, you have to change your cadence a little bit to fit today's audience. You understand what I'm trying to say? There's a lot of frictions that come from groups.
Well, also, you could have somebody in your group that is always perpetually late, and the show started at 8 o'clock, and they might show up at 7:59 and 30 seconds, and then sometimes they don't show up at all. They don't call, and they don't show up. And then the times that they do say they ain't coming, they're usually dissing us for Jesus.
Because the reason why I use Beats Rhymes, I'm not trying to, but Beats Rhymes in Life is a perfect example to me, because I got angry at where the narrative,
the direction.
Right. I wanted to appreciate them as a group. I did not want to see Spice and Tip decent. I'm sorry. And you rarely seen anything about Muhammad Shaheed. You know what I'm saying?
So Jerobi.
Yeah, Jerobi. Peace out to all. Those are my brothers. Matter of fact, they named me on all their albums. Right? Like those are my brothers. You didn't even get to appreciate them as a group. That's why I say I don't like people painting narratives who wasn't part of the process. I feel like you don't have that right unless everybody came together. Just like the UBC story. How could we really tell the story without everyone there?
Right.
Everyone's gonna have their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Even how we met, telling the UBC story. It would have been great if Tori and Dallas came, because now you got the complete story. Right. Because the way me and Mike gonna tell it is not the way them two gonna tell it. And Ian may tell it different. You know what I'm saying? We all got different beats, gripes, the way we looked at things. You know what I'm saying? I just don't feel like it's fair when you wasn't involved in none of these people and you just decide to write or make a movie about someone.
No doubt.
Last thing, my last point, be careful who you allow in the studio with you, because they just might be writing your life story without your permission.
Be
Wow.
careful talking to anybody you're not really cool. They would take your whole conversation.
Oh yeah.
Facts.
I mean, it's they
Get
call it
wicked in these
diabolical out
streets.
there. Yeah, facts. So listen, as you know, I like to take a little piece of the past and bring it to the forefront just to remind you of some great hip hop. This is one band that this song right here I love a lot. This is Black Moon, Who Got the Props. Let's check it out. Classic.
Man.
Kudos. A lot of good music came from Boot Camp Clip. A lot of good music.
Shout out to Brooklyn.
Yeah, can I say something real quick? So I met Black Moon back in '93. They were doing a record store tour, and I was working at Peaches Musica Tapes in Greensboro, North Carolina. And Black Moon was one of the nicest rap groups I had ever met in my entire life. I mean, them dudes was dapping everybody up. They was hugging everybody up. Anybody that wanted an autograph, they got it. Anybody that wanted a picture, they got it. And fast forward to not too long ago, Buckshot Shorty was the victim of a violent assault, wherein he basically got stomped out on the street. And instead of people helping him up, they videotaped him struggling to get up off the ground. Damn. And I feel like that kind of lack of caring, nobody's saying that you want to jump into his beef or his dispute, but man, where is the compassion? Where is just, hey, whatever happened, let's get you some help,
Right.
And I feel like that, that's just unacceptable to me. So I pray for his speedy recovery, man.
Mind you, our age.
He just had a birthday party. He just had a birthday party the other day.
And he was on stage.
Yeah, he was on stage. Look, he looked good too.
Good.
Yeah.
But peace to the Boot Camp Clip, man. A lot of people.
Right.
You wasn't in a studio. Them dudes was the hardest working dudes in show. Any underground seen one of them dudes there. One of them dudes would be there.
Shouts out to Mr. Walt and Evil D, DJ Evil D.
They were the original backpack. Backpack gangs. Facts.
Look at all the groups. Smith and Wesson, Helter Skelter, Original Ghost
Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Rock.
A lot of good rap. A lot of good underground rap. They worked the underground rap. A lot of good.
Facts.
Hira, you want to talk about the article you just posted?
Yeah, I put it in our group chat just in case y'all didn't see it. It is being reported that legendary Juice Crew singer TJ Swan has unfortunately passed away.
That was my next swap. That was my next topic.
Yeah, and he was at the young age of 57. They have not given a cause of death, but for the uninitiated, if you go back and listen to Biz Markie, nobody beats the Biz, nobody beats the Biz. The guy that sang on that.
TJ,
make the music.
Make the music. Make the music.
Right.
With your mouth.
Go back and look at legendary performance at the Apollo with Biz Markie and TJ Swan and a DJ. Facts.
Tore the house.
Tore down. So shout out to his family. Shout out to everybody that's associated with him. Man, this has been one of them years, yo.
We're seeing our childhood idols, and
that is a fact.
Disappearing.
If you got the opportunity to tell somebody that you love them and that they meant something to you, say it. If you get the opportunity, do it, because tomorrow is never promised.
And that was a great time in hip hop.
Yeah.
God, yes.
I saw that on Roxanne Shantae's Instagram earlier, and then I went to go research. And I found all the names of the members of the Juice Crew. That was heavy work.
God, yeah.
Marley Marl,
and MC
Big Daddy
Shan,
Kane.
MC
Rap.
What a time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
From around 81, 82 up till about 94, 95.
Young heads will never know. Young heads will never understand. They'll never understand why we move the way that we move. Because there was loyalty in the music, community. There was loyalty in the music. There was culture in the music.
There was discipline in the music. Even down to if you was just a fan and you was making your own mixtape, you had to wait and record it off the radio like some of us had to do with that was broke. And that was discipline because you had to listen to whatever the DJ was doing until you got in where you fit in, So
we went to concert, we repped our borough, and we repped those was our superheroes. Every
you from Queens, Joe?
Yeah. I was born in Brooklyn, I was raised in Queens. Yeah.
Got you.
I believe Mike.
I thought he was laughing. He yawning.
I'm yawning. I'm tired.
Me too.
I'm tired of the runaway slaves. I'm not. Look.
I got you.
The DJs was legendary. Even the local.
The local DJs.
DJ Cool.
Shout out to DJ Polo down in the Triad.
DJ Chili Q. These are Juice Crew DJs.
So endure with me. Let me go ahead and drop my this or that too. This one is dealing with two very prominent strong songs that dealt with breakdancing. So check it out. Shout out to my man Boogaloo Shrimp, excuse me. One of the nicest pop lockers. So
known as Turbo and the Electric Boogaloo movies.
And of course, if you have not seen Breaking, I'm sorry. That's one of the great movies. And you got Beat Street, you got Wild Style. Man.
We really need to do it
for the uninitiated.
We really need to do a show on hip hop movies. But I'm gonna go first. Because just like I said about I can't vote against Jay Dilla, there is no way I can vote against the Art of Noise ever, and I mean ever.
We need to show that one day.
Hey, look, I'm gonna just say shout out to Ann Dudley, shout out to Trevor Horn. Those two have been part of my development, since I was in middle school. And for the uninitiated, once again, Google Moments in Love, the original. And
the longest yard.
That's one of the most sampled records too. In R&B, man.
Look, hold up. And I ain't gonna get too graphic, but that song is also
we all smile. We all smile.
That song is responsible. That song is responsible for a generation of unwanted kids. I'm gonna just say it.
Yeah,
but
Like Kevin Hart said, you know what it is. Hey,
you know
hey,
what you did. But no, shout out to Art of Noise for real, for real.
I'm mad at Lord Jamar for that too, because if you follow hip hop for real,
I'm so
Rocksteady,
tired of
yeah, the Hispanic culture was a part of it. They was in the beginning, just like the black people. Rocksteady was one of the biggest
Facts.
black dancing groups ever.
they were
They were from
trendsetters.
neighborhoods that yes, they was. They really put breakdancing on the map. I'm telling you,
Yes.
I'm from that era. They was from neighborhood to neighborhood battling that.
Shouts out to
Rock,
Crazy Legs.
yeah, they are 100% right. And like you said, it was always multicultural, like the art of noise, a rhythmic. We love all color. Like you would watch hot tracks back in the day. It had no color. Had no color.
right.
It was a vibe, man.
And look, and you can only really get in that, dig it through the crates and not just
Yeah.
listening to what your friends are saying is popular. We grew up, we all grew up, well, Sharita almost, but all of us of a certain age where radio wasn't as fragmented that you
Thank
could
you.
go from Motown to Stax to Mac Davis to John Denver to Jim Croce to all of these other people. And so you got this sort of library in your head now that now you could go and unleash that on something else. And yeah, so appreciation for that, man. Where would Bambaataa be without Kraftwerks?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something real quick to my not defense, but to my credit. The reason why I even started making beats, I have two reasons. As a poet, it was hard to find people who were just trying to make instrumental music for poetry. And so I had to take a stab at it. But the driving force was music that I was introduced to by my grandparents, by my parents, because they had a very vast music taste. From Sinatra, from Mahalia Jackson to Kenny Rogers, Conway Twitty, all of the things from the 70s to the 80s. And I just literally, when I began to learn how to make music, I wanted to go and sample or take music, not necessarily sample a bite, but take the instruments that I heard in those tracks that I love so much and make them my own. And so I have a vast amount of music knowledge too. All right.
Shout out to Conway Twitty.
I played Shazam with my husband the other night on 80s music, and he was astounded at my music knowledge because I absolutely love 80s music. Shoot, I love music.
Our era started hip hop. Don't forget that, and it was mainly because our parents came from the blues, Motown, funk, and then we derived that into a dance culture. We took all of that stuff that we created a culture from our parents' music. That's what we did.
And two things. Number one, you're absolutely right. Hip hop was created at its core that it wasn't going to be the same thing. So, like, think about the Art of Noise, or think about the other track. You had what was called electro hop. You had the electro, that sort of hybrid of hip hop and electronic music that was a genre for people who were deep in anime like I was in the early 80s. It made sense to me, right? So yeah, shout out to that. My second point is I would encourage everybody, and I know we might do this as a podcast, I would really encourage people to go look at this documentary called Rumble Kings. Rumble Kings. Watch that documentary, and then afterwards tell me who was there when hip hop got started.
I have a question. And I don't know the answer. And I really there's a song by Two Live Crew, and I won't, it's called something Caper. Who made that track? That was one of the illest instrumental joints. Also, of course, there was the track had Luke and the girl talking, but the music for that track. Who made that beat?
That was a group from the 70s called the Temprees. And the name
so that
of
was
it,
a sample?
that was a sample. And the name of the song is called Dedicated to the One I Love. And so you go back and listen to that in the 70s, you're going to hear the P Caper. And I will say this.
They smashed that.
Look, I will say this. I didn't really particularly care about the rap or the lyrics.
No, me neither. That's why it's instrumental.
But that instrumental, especially when it used to come on, picture this, summer of 1992, you coming out of the club because the club does shut down at 2 a.m. You on your way to maybe Waffle House or wherever you might be at going next. What's on the radio? The P Caper.
Yep.
You still have to appreciate them though because they represented what their time was all about.
Listen,
oh, absolutely. Really we could do a whole show.
That Easily. Was the most. I can't find the words. That was like eloquent. That was like one of the most eloquent things that I had ever heard. And when I found out it was them, I was like, wow.
They made some good music and did not get enough love for the quality of music they brought. Lyrics, we may be like, but tracks.
But think about this, and we could get into, like I said, we could get into a whole debate. But think about this. Think about what Atlanta calls trap music.
Mm-hmm.
And now hit the rewind button back to I Wanna Rock.
Wow.
Right? Now think about it was Miami bass, but also think about the 30 seconds and the 64th samples and the snares that was in that. You know what I mean? And so they were revolutionary with the production. It wasn't just mindless bass music. That production was out of sight.
The extended mix for that, the one that you know what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm about to put that in the chat, Sharita. I just put the article in there, but yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Can I say something real positive real quick before we leave?
Most definitely.
All right, so Michael Rainey Jr., y'all know him from the Power franchise.
Mm-hmm.
He went back to his hometown and started an initiative, a financial literacy initiative. He put $2.4 million into a financial literacy initiative sponsored by Equifax and the Recovery Education Foundation to teach curriculum to young people about financial literacy. They're going to get identity protection, credit monitoring, and digital curriculum to teach them about how to spend and save money. I really thought that was exciting because we grew up in a generation, I mean, not that home ec wasn't important, and they taught a little bit about checkbooks. But not to the tune of what our counterparts were learning in the home about financial literacy and financial stability and wealth. So shouts out to Michael Rainey Jr. for taking that back to his hometown. And I hope a lot of other people will get to the understanding that using their celebrity money or their celebrity dollars and putting it back into the community, not just when they're forced to do it by court or legality.
That part.
But you know,
go ahead.
It's trending now to invest. People are starting to invest now. It's like trending now.
It is, but the education is not. And so shout out to him for doing that. Shout out to Killer Mike, who's been doing that in Atlanta for a number of years. Shout out to Cat Williams, who just invested a couple of million in his own studio in Alabama. That's gonna rock. This Negro bought an old army base. Like, I didn't even know that you could go buy an old army base, but he did. I guess so. Apparently it does. But
I didn't know he had that kind of grip. But that ain't my business, being his pockets. But
I'll say this about Cat, just like I would say it about Prince. Cat owns his masters. He's not signed anybody. Any special that you see is a completely independent thing.
So all that Netflix money, and then when all of his specials is on Netflix, he basically okay. Thanks.
Just like Prince would never collaborate with anybody in hip hop unless they own their own masters.
Mm.
And that was something that he taught and he preached about your advocacy, because we're getting to this point now with digital currency, with Bitcoin and all this other stuff. We're, instead of being one generation behind, some of our people are going to be 2 or 3 generations behind, and you might not ever catch up. So shout out to anybody that's out there that's teaching.
Hey, D-Ray, do you know the name of that song that Michael Jackson lent the Nas for free? He said, as long as you do something good with it, I'm not going to charge you for the sample. What?
I got to look it up, but I know what you're talking about.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I thought we would say what song, what album we could listen to in a song.
Do what?
I thought that was one of the questions for today.
What was the question?
What album could you listen to the whole thing without?
Oh, I got you, without stopping.
Oh, wow. I could go Cactus album by Third Base. Love Movement. I mean, this is so many.
For me, it's one. It's one because for whatever reason, with this particular album, I could listen to it and turn my producer ear off. Oh. And I can't do that for a lot of albums, right? And that's Guru's Jazzmatazz Volume 1.
Absolutely.
I could put that on and go from the intro to Sights in the City at the end. And I don't have to skip it. I don't have to do nothing to it. So that's my one. Jazzmatazz Volume 1.
Let me think deeper right quick while they come up with their answers. Hold on.
What do you think, Jokey?
A Criminal.
Okay.
A Queens guy says this?
That album.
That's deep.
I mean, I mean, listening from beginning to end and be like, yo.
Yeah, that's a ride. It's a roller coaster ride.
Sharita, Human Nature.
That's it. Thank you. Go ahead, Veep. I got mine.
Okay. The only album that comes in mind to me is something that I grew up with during I was middle high school, and that was Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full. I know every single song on that album, and to me, every song was a banger. So I'll just have a good time. Be there rap with my man Rakim from beginning to end. So that's
talking about rap albums.
Any album, I guess.
Yeah.
But rap, of course, because we're hip hop.
Love Deluxe by Sade.
I got a funny story with that Rakim. Marley Marl was supposed to mix Check Out My Melody, and he didn't do it. He didn't like the song, so he still put it on. And that's why you hear all that echo. Check Out My Melody. He didn't even mix it, and that song still resonated with the people.
Check Out My Melody.
Yeah,
it was one of the dirtiest hits that and I mean dirty as far as technical. That I think it actually proved that the streets will win, because it's really whatever the streets say.
Even with that echo, that's what made that song.
Exactly. Because when you hear that song right now, I guarantee you, all of us are going to be transported to some activity we was doing in the summertime somewhere,
right?
When we were a lot younger with less responsibilities
and less mentality.
And yeah, you would add that, but okay, because you're right.
I was a fool back in the day, boy. Thank God he saved me. But yeah, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, y'all. I'll take that. Beginning to end.
That was a good
Monster.
I would have said It's Dark and Hell is Hot, but that's real gritty. Ooh, real quick, I saw something last week that said got 4 producers, got to get rid of one of them. Did y'all see that one? it was like Pharrell, Timbo, Swiss Beats, and
that's easy. Swiss
I was gonna
right.
say.
And,
out of there.
but I said
That's
the only reason I said Swiss too, but it was like a deal breaker with the others because Swiss Beats had a lot to do with Lox's music, and I really love the first Lox album a lot.
You did.
But a lot of those producers have other producers. You know what I'm saying? Like Pharrell's like one of the only dudes I've seen that you go to studio by yourself to make a beat. Like
I had said,
like you could go. You could go and there's a app you can download called Masterclass, where Timbaland is teaching a class on beat making, and he has his staff producer in there with a laptop. That this is somebody that's working with him, and so but I still Swiss Beats lost me when he took the Casio sample that was on the keyboard and turned that into something that was just aggravating. So yeah,
which one is that?
Oh God, one of them Jay-Z tracks that he did. It was the Casio keyboard sample, and I forget the name of the track, but 102 Jams and Power 98 in Charlotte, they played that track I can't stand it now.
Dang.
102 Jams will do it to you.
I mean, kudos to them, but a lot of some of their hits wasn't there. Like kudos to Infrared. He was down with like a lot of these dudes did co-production and put their name on it. You know what I'm saying? And they took a lot of credit for some hits they didn't even make. So they still was great producers. But if I was to pick out of the four, I've never seen Pharrell do that. You know what I'm saying? So I have to put Pharrell over. You know what I'm saying?
Pharrell is legendary in his own right.
Yeah, but he's organic, even though he got sued by his man, though. But whenever you see Pharrell,
Chad Hugo is missing. You can tell in the music now that Chad Hugo is missing.
Well, you know what? That's almost like saying one of the seasonings out of KFC ain't there, but it's still KFC.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've never
seen several of the seasonings.
I've never seen that guy. No, I've always seen Pharrell by himself. But all other people I've seen him with, even Dre, I've seen him with Scott Storch. I've seen him with other people. I've never seen Pharrell with anybody. Pharrell always solo by himself.
Dre don't play those keys. Mailman does.
That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of these dudes be taking credit. And same thing with Timberland. A lot of stuff he do, if he don't do it himself. Like he got a team. Like there's a team that be in there.
Mm-hmm. And Warren G don't get enough credit.
No.
Yeah, Warren G.
No. Warren G produced arguably one of the biggest hip hop records of the 90s. Yeah. And his name does not come up when you're talking about top producers.
DJ Quick, Jelly Roll,
Facts.
Battle Cat, everybody stole his sound from the West Coast. Yeah, that funk on Smash. Like if you know real, like, come on, the list goes on. Like what's my man, Beethoven from Atlanta? Everybody done stole. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what though? It's almost like what you were saying. Everybody, when Jay-Z came out with "Show Me What You Got" and that drum sample at the end, everybody was attributing that to Just Blaze. But then you go on YouTube, and it really wasn't Just Blaze. It was an actual drummer that was playing it. That I can't think of his name, but the drummer is out of his mind. And all Just Blaze did was record that little part, loop it, and put it in or whatever. So yeah.
And he has a team. You seen this team? He has a team too.
That's right.
He has a team. You go to the studio. Like I met Just Blaze before. He had a team of producers. Kanai Finch.
Mm-hmm.
You can these guys.
We're not gonna even bring up our famous inmate producer. How many people were voluntarily or involuntarily on his production team?
And people from down here, people from from Greensboro, were on
Facts.
his team, which will remain nameless.
Facts.
But yeah.
I gotta hear it now. Who?
We'll tell you offline.
Yeah. Let's just say this. One of the biggest hits from Bad Boy, the actual producer was paid about $300.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you know you?
I do.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we got to talk about that off screen.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Ollie Moore had K-Def. Like, there was a whole bunch. I mean, everybody had their shot, you know. That's what they do. Eat off, you know.
Yep.
Y'all want to talk about that? That's a whole nother blog.
That is a whole nother one.
Juicy J said he gets so much money off of these cats, man. Sampling him. He's like, he just sit back and make money like Eric Sermon do.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think that's messed up if you came in the game sampling and you're going to charge people to sample? Like you're not going to pass that down to the youth?
If you pay for it.
Well, no.
If you invested in it.
Yeah.
No. I'll put it to you like this. One of the most sampled musicians of all time died broke.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I dare you to find a sample that was sampled more than Funky Drummer. I dare you to find
that is
a
now
sample
a legendary break beat.
like legit. And Clyde Stubblefield, the way that he had to make money in his old age, he had to go back and replay it and sell sample packs of his drumming to make a living, because for so many years, I think this Funky Drummer has been sampled 6,000 times.
Yeah.
And he didn't get none of that.
He did?
Right. No. He didn't get none of that. The Funk Brothers of Motown, none of that. You know? These guys had to get GoFundMes, and in some cases, some of them might still be sitting in a mortuary somewhere because the family can't afford to bury them. So anytime that we're talking about financial literacy in our community, in our creative community, please take heed.
I didn't know that, man. That's sad.
Wow.
So look, people, I'm gonna go ahead and land the plane. To let everybody know, we will not be here next Friday. We'll have a replay show next Friday. But we appreciate you coming to hang out with us, and definitely tell your friends and family to come check us out every Friday night at 8 p.m. The Veep. Salute to Jokey, Sharita, and D-Ray. Thank you guys for your input. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. And like Rakim says, it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. So always keep it at the center. We will see y'all in 2 weeks. Y'all have a safe Thanksgiving. We love y'all. God bless. Peace.
They used to jam in the center.